Hi, this is Fawn from Magick Hook Crochet, and today we are going to look at a couple of the stitches in my Spellweaver headband. It is a relatively simple pattern, but I want to talk about a few things that I do that help me to keep track of what row I'm on and also keep track of what I'm trying to do as I move through the band and why I mark things the way that I mark them. So this is one that I've started already, and what I wanted to point out is I actually put a stitch marker on every single row that I do. And the reason why I do this is that I get interrupted by my family all the time. And if I don't put stitch markers in my work, it is very easy for me to lose track of where I am. And I don't always do the best with counting rows if I don't put stitch markers in there. So I put stitch markers in everything. Yes, it's a pain when it's time to take them out, but I'd rather do that than miscount my rows and have things be uneven. So what I do is when I get to a part of the pattern that is a different section, I will put a black stitch marker in there. You don't have to use black. You could designate a different color if you wanted to and use blue or purple or pink, but I only use black for when a pattern deviates into a new, I guess, I don't know what the right word would be, but into a new segment. So for this one here, this starts a repeat of 4 half double crochets. So I put a black stitch marker here to help keep track of that until I get to the next segment, which is here. And in this segment, we start increasing the band to connect it to where it connects to start the Spellweaver portion of the headband. So the other thing that's nice about this is because I connect them and I put the black and I know where I put the black in certain segments, it is easier if I lose count of where I'm at because I also use a clicker is what I call them. I know that's not the name, but I use a clicker to keep track of where I'm at. If I have not done well with this, I can go to whatever segment I'm on and start counting there. So I don't have to actually recount everything, which is nice. So those are my couple of tips for working this particular pattern. If you don't get interrupted on your patterns and you can just go with it, by all means, you don't have to do this. This is just a suggestion and what works for me because I have a busy household and I am interrupted a lot. All right, so this headband is pretty easy to start. Let's grab this color here because I have not made one in this color yet. And this color is bruschetta. And I like to use Hobby Lobby's I Love This Cotton for my headbands. They work up well, they hold shape well, the colors are great, there's a lot of options in them. This is definitely the yarn that I prefer for these headbands. So if I were starting this from scratch, I would put a stitch marker here. This stitch marker would not be one of my black stitch markers. And the reason why is this is not really getting counted. This is more holding a place and it's not really a segment, so to speak. So I would just put a normal stitch marker there just so that I know where I'm at. Oops. See, it's not as easy to do as you think it is either. All right, and then we're going to chain 2. And this pattern literally builds on itself. It's very simple. So once you do your chain 2, then you would use what I would recommend one solid color. Just pick your color and separate some out. So I'm going to put a black stitch marker here. And then we are going to half double crochet into the second chain. So all right, and then chain one and turn. And it's that simple to start. That's all we're doing. Then for row two, we're going to do a half double crochet increase, but again, I'm going to put in my stitch marker. And if you don't like stitch markers and this is annoying to you, I'm sorry, but I have to do this just because of my household being a little bit chaotic, and I hate losing track of where I'm at in a pattern. Okay, so for this next row, it is going to be a half double crochet increase, chain one, and turn, chain and turn. And then we're going to put another hook. For the next one, it's going to be half double crochet in the first stitch and then an increase. And an increase is just 2 half double crochets for this pattern anyway. It is 2 half double crochets into the same space, into the same stitch. That is how you get the increase stitch for the next row. So that is why you will see that this is starting to expand. Then we're going to chain and turn. Now we're going to do row 4, and row 4 will be our last increase for a few rows. So we are going to half double crochet into the first 2 stitches. There's 1 and there is 2, and do an increase into this last stitch. So I'll put my 2 half double crochets into that same stitch, chain 1, and turn my work. Okay, so now we have I think it's like 23 row repeat. Okay, this is where it's kind of monotonous. We are just going to do 4 half double crochets and repeat that. That's where we're going to get this length right here for the headband, is from that repeat. It is simply 4 half double crochets, chain 1, turn, and repeat that. Then when we get to here, we'll have a new segment and we will start an increase on each side. What I wanted to demonstrate is what happens when we get to the Spellweaver section. And this is definitely my favorite texture, and you will see it in several of my patterns that are coming out will be Spellweaver patterns. This is a stitch that I came up with. I know single crochet and double crochet. They're not anything that I created. It is the combination and how I use them is what I came up with. And I absolutely love it. I use it in a ton of different patterns to be published down the road, but it's super simple. And I love the texture that you get from working Spellweaver. So how this works is once you have your chain 1, you're going to do a single crochet through both loops in the first space. Okay, then a double crochet in the back loop. So you're going to go into this leg right here and do your double crochet. Okay, then for the next one, this single crochet will be in the front loop only. Single crochet, and then you're going to do the double crochet again in the back loop only. And you're going to repeat that pattern all the way to the end of this row. And then we will chain and turn because I want to show how this texture looks when you have two of them sitting on top of each other. But for this last stitch, it will also be through both loops. Okay, so the thing to note is both ends, you will be going through both loops. You will only alternate front and back for the spaces that are in between these outside spaces. So this will be a double crochet through both. Okay, and to make this work, whatever your chain is or whatever your pattern is needs to be even number of spaces. So we ended on a double crochet through both loops, we chained, turn, and now let me put in a stitch marker. We are going to do a single crochet again through this first space. And you're just going to work the same pattern again. So single crochet both loops, double crochet through the back loop, then single crochet through the front loop of this one, and then double crochet through the back loop, and you're going to continue that pattern across. And it looks really nice. Let me actually see if I can untangle this quickly. There we go. All right, we're going to keep going just so we have the two rows overlapping. So single crochet front loop, double crochet back, again single front, and then we're going to have our last stitch go through double crochet both. Okay, and then chain one again. So you get this nice texture that appears, and it's on the wrong side technically. There's not really a right side or a wrong side to this pattern, but as you're working this, if you pay attention, the texture appears away from you as you are crocheting. So it is being worked on the wrong side, and then when you turn, it'll be worked on the right side, on the opposite side, and it'll go back and forth like that. So it sits really nicely. And let's go ahead and do one more just so that you can start to see how this fits together. But this is definitely a wrong side texture. All right, so single crochet both, double crochet back loop, single crochet into your front, double crochet into the back, single into the front, double into the back loop, oops, there we go, single, and double through both to end that row. Okay, so let's turn this over and look. So this side has two rows done, and it looks really nice. I love the way it looks. It's a nice texture. Both sides are going to have that texture because that is what we're doing. We are turning our work. So it is working the texture, even though it's working away from you as you're working it, it is working the texture on both sides of the headband, which looks really, really nice. So just as an example, and yes, I am wearing one currently because I love these headbands. This is what it looks like when it's completed, and it looks really nice. So that is all for now. Let me know if you have any questions, and thanks for watching.